Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on our webinar series, Unseen Impact, where we're going to highlight, edify, and share the leadership lessons and growth strategies of some of the brightest engineering and manufacturing minds that you may not be familiar with, but you really, really should get to know. Okay. My name is Sean Bartley. I'm the founder of Crown Technical Staffing, a specialized engineering and manufacturing recruitment firm based here in Atlanta, Georgia. We partner with small to mid-sized manufacturers, design teams, and integrators, helping them find and retain mission-critical technical talent and the frontline engineers and executives who help develop and guide those teams. Okay. But before we get started today, we're going to be truly intentional. I'm big on intentionality. We're going to be intentional with our time, and I hope that you all walk away with four things during this conversation. Number one, Eduardo's playbook used to double productivity, shrink operational costs by 40%, and take delivery times from 30% to 100% across multiple departments without additional tech investment. Number two, his step-by-step methods to creating cultures that find, empower, and engage top technical talent in today's market. The third, his documented game plan used to reduce production team headcount from 53 to 8 technicians and engineers while boosting output and engagement, doing this without automation. I think you want to stick around for that one in particular, right? And the fourth thing is his proven strategies he uses to make lean actually work. Oftentimes it sounds good, but how do you make it actually work? And in addition to how he's turning that information into a book and a coaching business, okay? Our guest today, Mr. Eduardo Pagani, is the COO at Boule Diagnostics AB and founder of Manufacturing Simplicity. I can't do any justice, right, to Eduardo's introduction. He's going to do it all. I'll let him take over from here, share his story. Eduardo, are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you, Sean.
Let's
It's
do it.
really great to be here.
Let's do it.
Like I said, my name is Eduardo Pagani. I'm currently the CEO of Boule Diagnostics, the Swedish medical device company in the hematology space. I've spent more than 25 years leading operational turnarounds and helping organizations remove complexity so that people can do their best work. And today, in addition to my role at Boule, I also run Manufacturing Simplicity, where I help companies design, execute their operations excellence strategies as well. I'm excited to be here and to share some of the lessons I've learned from both my successes and mistakes along the way.
That's big. Success and mistake. We want it all, Eduardo. Don't hold nothing back from us. Okay. So your reputation, Eduardo, as a complexity eliminator, right? Is something I've known you as, right? Eduardo, your career, it features just that global plant launches, high stakes turnarounds. Was there a formative moment or just a pivotal failure? Let's just jump into it that defined your drive for operational simplicity. What did that look like?
Yeah, good questions. Absolutely. So the moment that shaped my career, Sean, happened very early at a tier one automotive joint venture in southern US. This was a joint venture between an American company and a Japanese company. The American side wanted to learn the Japanese management system, what we now call Lean and Toyota Way, but that terminology did not exist at that point in time. That's how old I am. Uh, so the situation was a mess. Demand was rising. Equipment downtime was a major concern. And people were working harder without making any progress. What struck me was that our counterparts of this American company kept doing the same things the same old way and falling further behind, while the Japanese executives who were right there offering help and nobody were listening to them. So I made a conscious decision to partner with this Japanese team. And I earned their trust. I asked endless questions, and they began to teach me and coach me on everything from the techniques, culture, discipline, and everything else. So on my first trip to Japan actually changed me. I saw an old, outdated plant way outperform our brand new state-of-the-art facility, making the same product. And that's because their processes were simple, disciplined, robust, and stable. So then I was walking around and asking operators, management, and everybody else, how do you do this? They didn't give me the recipe. but they kept repeating one thing, TPM. So I came back and found out that means total productive maintenance. So I bought every book on the subject. And we actually started the implementation of TPM. Now we found one line, used that as a pilot, and we started implementation. We actually fell behind at first because we had to stop the lines for about a week. But shortly after, within weeks, output exceeded demand. And we started catching up, and people finally got their weekends back, right? Suddenly, every department wanted to do that TPM thing. So, and that was the aha moment, right?
Mhm.
Note that Notice that we did not force the entire organization to do TPM.
Mhm.
We instead used it to solve a clear and present problem the organization had. So people saw the value in it and begged us to do more of it. So no posters, no slogans, no
Mhm.
fancy presentations. There was a powerful lesson that I continue to apply at every opportunity. And that moment stayed with me, Sean.
Understood. Understood. So that was your first turnaround opportunity, right? And
Yes, yes, it
that
was. Yes, it
first
was.
turnaround opportunity. So what's that first thing, the very first thing you investigate when handed the keys to a failing operation? And has that move evolved, right, throughout your career and with experience?
Sure. Yeah. Early on, I would jump straight into tools, metrics, and action plans. And as I evolved, as I became more mature, so today my first move is much more human, and I try to understand what's really going on beneath the surface. See, uh, most CEOs and owners, they approach me with assumptions, right? Oh, I need to hire, need you to do some 5S, or need some automation, or we
Mhm.
need more discipline. But those are often symptoms, not causes.
Mm.
So my first step is to do a structured assessment. Of course, it's structured in a sense that these are the things I look at, but I vary the approach based on the business. So I go to a place and I really assess the situation. And often the root causes are not exactly what the owners or CEOs
Mm.
thought they were. So I
Right.
talk to people at every level. I walk the flow from end to end. I look at financials, of course, and the KPIs if they have some, the key
Mhm.
performance indicators. I ask where the struggle is. I listen to what is not being said, right? What people, the common understanding of the problem. So the assessment not only helps me understand what's really going on, it also allows me to start formulating the path to address that. Because in most cases, huh, the answer already lies within the organization. The answer to the problems that an
Mhm.
organization has is
Mhm.
already there.
Mhm.
The reason they have not surfaced is almost always cultural. So people felt unheard, or there are no systems to withdraw that from people, for them to allow them to speak up,
Mhm.
or people have been burned by previous initiatives that went nowhere. So the assessment will help surface that. So
Okay.
the big evolution for me is there's no, I don't go in with solutions or assumptions. I go in with curiosity.
Mhm.
The root causes tell me what to do next.
Understood. Okay. So now that kind of touches on the trust that you're building and the engagement that you have during these plant consolidations and these turnaround scenarios.
Mhm.
What's that playbook, right? For building that trust, building the engagement during those plant consolidations or even multicultural or multi-country really integrations. What does that look like?
Mm, Playbook.
Hmm.
So talking about consolidations. So consolidations and turnaround, right?
Yeah.
They bring uncertainty, right?
Hmm.
And it's very important. You mentioned culture as well. That's extremely important.
Hmm.
So understanding culture first.
Hmm.
And I don't mean only the national culture, yeah, because I have consolidated businesses from this country into that country, etc. So yeah, understanding the national culture is important. But more than that, understanding the company culture is extremely important. So you have to listen,
Hmm.
watch how people communicate, who they trust, what they fear losing, and what they are proud of. You cannot lead people you do not understand.
Mhm.
So the whole culture is extremely important.
Mhm.
And then you communicate on the same basis as well.
Sure.
Second thing is be radically transparent. Tell the truth. Don't sugarcoat. Don't hide decisions. In consolidations, the rumor mill becomes the real CEO. So you
Mhm.
have to get ahead of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
People
Mhm.
can handle tough news. They cannot handle silence. And I have millions of examples about this
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
We can't go into that, but I don't want
Right.
to make this too long.
Sure.
So the third point I would say is I like to create a rhythm, right? And by that is like having daily huddles, weekly priorities, clear ownerships, and that brings structure to the chaos, right? Consolidation creates a lot of confusion, and
Mhm.
people naturally imagine the worst if you're not straightforward, if you
Mhm. Mhm.
don't get ahead of it.
Mhm.
So a simple structure, a rhythm brings calm, stability, and direction to the team.
Mhm.
And I'm going to throw one more thing,
Yeah.
which is I say find the influencers,
Mhm.
not the TikTok
Mhm.
influencer, right?
Gotcha. Right. Right.
But
Right.
I don't go after titles or charts, but those people that others naturally follow.
Mhm.
If you win the influencers, the engagement skyrockets,
Mhm.
right? So they help influence organization as well, and communications flows faster, and the resistance drops dramatically.
So I know for the individuals that are checking us out live or perhaps even watching the recording, we like stories, right? Stories sell, facts tell, right? So we want to make sure that we provide a story that can tie this all in. So
Mhm.
when it comes to turning around a disengaged or just a completely checked out team, it could be a technical team or non, how do you identify those key people? What did you stop tolerating, right? And what were visible before and after signs on that shop floor?
Okay, so you like stories, let me give you a story
Hmm.
then. Let me
Hmm.
talk about, I'm going to expand a little bit, but let me talk about a turnaround we did in Brazil.
Hmm.
I was working for this, that was a large automotive fasteners plant. The operation had been losing money for many years.
Hmm.
And I used to work for the company, the corporate side here in the US. And corporate kept sending, flying executives down. They would lay people off in every trip, right? The executive will come over, the financials are not checking out. First thing they do, let's get rid of some people, hoping the numbers will improve.
Hmm.
It did not, right? Because again, it's addressing the symptom, not the cause.
Right.
So by the time I was asked to go there, maybe because my background is from Brazil,
Hmm.
and they said, go there, maybe you know the culture, you can do something different. So I got there and they were clearly expecting me to go there and just lay people off. I didn't. Instead, I listened and observed, right? So I discovered that every time someone was laid off, another machine went down.
Hmm.
Because unlike the American operations, the processes there were extremely manual. So every machine has a person there. So you take the person out, the machine stops. And so fewer people means less capacity. Less capacity means late deliveries and then fines from the automakers and more pressure. And then the cycle restarted. So
Hmm.
things kept getting worse year over year. So that tells you how you can imagine how demotivated people were. So you're asking about things that you do, things you don't do. So meanwhile, while all that was going on, the local team was wasting a lot of time on corporate mandates. There was a 5S campaign, new report templates, new software mandated by corporate. They were measuring a lot of things that did not matter, just a matter of habit that they were mandated to do.
Hmm.
So even 5Ss, I used to tell them, you guys are cleaning the ship while the ship is sinking. And I remember they kept repeating that to me
Right.
while I was there. So we stopped doing the wrong work, right? We paused 5S. It's like, wait a minute, the lean guy stopped 5S? Yes, we stopped 5S. We killed unnecessary reports. I became the buffer between corporate and that
Mm.
operation.
Okay.
So we focus only on the mission of fixing the business. So this higher purpose focus engaged everyone. And by continually highlighting and celebrating even the smallest victories, even a bottleneck that we fixed,
Hmm.
the entire team felt re-energized. And the results were within weeks. The team, you could see, you could sense
Hmm.
the team was re-engaged.
Hmm.
Within months, the plant was stabilized. And the before and after picture on the shop floor, as you
Hmm.
asked, I mean, you can see that more machines are running, fewer fire drills, calmer supervisors, operators actually smiling again.
Hmm.
So the lesson here is people disengage when they believe their work no longer matters.
Hmm.
Just wait for the corporate to tell us what to do. So
Right.
they re-engage when they feel they are part of something bigger. When you remove the noise and let them contribute and solve the real problems.
So that piece on engagement and disengagement is key, right? Because I
Yeah.
want to make sure everyone who's on the chat live right now is engaged. So if you are, and you are here, you are listening, you're getting something from the conversation, just put an emoji. Whatever emoji you feel, put an emoji in the chat. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're engaged in the conversation and you're actually getting some value from it. Eduardo's information, both his email address and his LinkedIn page, is in the chat. My calendar to have a conversation, schedule some time to chat, see if there are some solutions that we provide as a, staffing and recruitment firm would be applicable for your organization. My calendar is there. Feel free to book in some time to chat. Again, Eduardo's information is there as well. And it segues, right, Eduardo, with something that I heard about you and your background. 53 to 8. That's what I've dubbed this.
Oh yeah, you like
53 to
that
8, right?
one. Yeah.
So just tell us, Eduardo, tell us about when you reduced, right? That production department from 53 to 8 people. You boosted the output, engagement, and you did that without automation, right? What levers did you pull, right? What did you communicate? How did you communicate these moves successfully?
Right. And these kind of results are very typical, right? You remember the 53 to 8, but there's
Hmm.
several other examples, but let's focus on this.
Hmm.
This was in Europe. And the goal wasn't simply to reduce people. We needed to contain costs, and the goal was to simplify the processes that became super bloated over time.
Hmm.
See, the previous manager responded to poor output by hiring more people and by adding more inventory.
Hmm.
And the assumption was more heads means more output. And to be honest with you, what I found there was a very inefficient process with a lot of complexity. All those people trying to justify their existence in that line. So we took the opposite approach of adding people and adding inventory. And I made a point to train this excellent area manager. And every time I visit the operation, I would teach him something new, right? And then drill him on different tools and show him the way. Initially he mapped the process to understand it and find opportunities. Then we start removing non-value added steps, right? An operator is carrying things back and forth. Why is he carrying back and forth? Why can you move over here? Oh, because you build inventory. So can you rebalance the line? So we start applying the right link tools at the right time. And so we start removing these non-value added steps. We reduced and eventually eliminated inventory between workstations. We brought workstations closer together. So
Hmm.
another thing is we reduced the floor occupancy by about 60%. We kept getting things closer together, so we opened up a lot of floor space. We and every time we do it, we rebalance the line. Then we kept fixing bottlenecks, and then we repeat the cycle over and over and over.
Hmm. Hmm.
And every time we simplified, productivity went up. This freed up people from those 53 down to 8. And but instead of having a large layoff, and as things will happen gradually, we gradually retrained and moved many of those people to other areas that had openings within the plant, right? Because there's turnover everywhere. So we start moving people to those positions. Even somebody we train them to go to IT, etc. And some of those we were unable to absorb. We gave them at fair retirement or exit packages, right? And to those people who could not absorb. So because people were treated with dignity, morale actually rose as we reduced personnel. Right, the work became more meaningful. They saw the impact and they saw how well we treated people. So those remaining eight, they continuously to contribute, and and still today they contribute with good ideas to make things better. Now, you mentioned no automation.
Hmm.
Now, it's not the right time to automate that line, right?
Right. Right.
And let me say a quick thing about it. As a matter of fact, I just recently wrote an article
Hmm.
on LinkedIn on my manufacturing
Okay.
secret. I,
Hmm.
I'll encourage people to go there and read more specifics about it. But here's my philosophy on automation. You do not automate a messed up process.
Hmm.
Right? If I
Hmm.
had, no, I told you there's a lot of transportation, a lot of movement, a lot of,
Hmm.
if for me to automate that, there would be such a complicated and cumbersome automation
Hmm.
that may make no sense and be prone to all kinds of issues.
Hmm.
So you should first simplify your operation and make sure you have robust and repeatable processes. And of course, it has to make financial sense as well. Get to that point before you do the automation. Make it a robust, simple process before pursuing automation. That's my advice. And then again, I encourage people to read that. It's a short article.
Yeah.
I encourage people to read that.
So you heard it first, right? There's an article. Check it out. Get some more in-depth information there. And oftentimes we hear lean, we hear about the principles, and it sounds good, right? It in sounds good when you hear it and you listen to it, but it actually fails on the shop floor, right? So how did you make your lean processes work through TRW to Danaher to, Textron and Bull? How'd you take those teams from skepticism? Because I'm sure everybody wasn't on the same page at the same time, right? So taking it from skepticism to that sustained, continuous improvement habit, what was done there?
Okay, yeah, it's important to understand now why lean fails. And
Mhm.
frequently, when I come to a business, I'm hired like a PM, COO here, or in my consulting business.
Mhm.
I'm hired to help. I offer lean as a solution to the problems that they have after doing my assessment,
Mhm.
etc.
Mhm.
I, Sean, I constantly hear, "Oh, we tried that before. It does not work."
Mhm.
Or, "Oh, our business is different." No, I've done this from fasteners to aerospace. I mean, it works everywhere, right?
Mhm.
So what usually happens, right, and the skepticism comes from somebody in the past hired an expert
Mhm.
who feels very comfortable with some specific tools like 5S's or
Mhm.
Kanban, whatever.
Mhm.
So they disregard what the business actually needs
Mhm.
and they go implementing their favorite tool. And here we are. Now you see the people day to day struggling with specific issues. And here's the consultant. Oh, let's clean. Like I mentioned the plant in Brazil, right?
Mhm.
They were sinking, they were dying, and they were cleaning. I love 5S's, and I do that all the time. I've read probably 200 5S Kaizens out there. But it is not the right time to do something else. What's killing the business? So this is why lean fails in many cases. People apply lean, they want to have a sequence of I'm going to do 5S's first, then standard work, and then
Mhm.
whatever, disregarding what's going to have help the business. So you
Mhm.
go there, you focus the tool on solving the actual business issues, and you get immediate engagement. They're going to see you as somebody who's actually solving the problems that they have, and then they see the results. And one more thing I'd like to throw there.
Sure.
I like to mix the approach and have larger initiatives in support of the company's strategy. Usually they're like longer term initiatives
Mhm.
with quick hits, right? So so people start getting used to see, oh, wait a minute, this lean thing is helping me every
Mhm.
day. Now I can find my tools. Now I can do this. Now my operation is easier to run.
Sure.
And you start gaining adherence to the process. And in parallel, you're working on the longer term initiative that will completely shift the business.
So I'm curious too now if that particular story, if there's others out there, because this series, right, is called Unseen Impact. And oftentimes it's simply because the best leaders, they're often influencing in ways that aren't immediately visible, right?
Mhm.
And what would be an example of an unseen impact, something you've done, something you've had on your team, or within a particular project that you're super proud of, that may not have been seen by everybody, but you and your team, and that long-standing impact is still being felt today.
Okay. Um, Let me talk about a project that we were leading in the late 90s, right? I was working on a larger tier one automotive and aerospace group. I was part of a team assigned to deploy an accelerated lean transformation across multiple divisions,
Mhm,
initially in the US, and eventually I went to Europe to do that. I was based in Italy for a couple of years for
mhm,
that project. So we built core teams in each facility. So a group of
mhm,
people who we went there, we trained, and they were doing the groundwork there. And so we trained those teams, we developed lean deployment plans, trained people, ran Kaizens, and created management systems and tracking systems, etc. The work was very intense. We got immediate results at that point in time, but the unseen impact showed up years later. So, many of the things we created back then, many of the systems we installed back then, are still in place today. And of course, they have also evolved and improved. But sometimes I go to Italy, I go visit some of those plants, and
mhm,
things we did there in the 90s, the Kaizen promotional offices, are still there. And many of the people involved in the process, Sean, they continue to develop and move into leadership roles, and they are making the difference elsewhere. In some of them still in the same company, but
mhm.
elsewhere as well. So those moments I'm the most proud of, right? Not the certificates, the events, the celebrations, but the people who grew because someone believed in them.
Mhm. So you've touched a lot of different departments, a lot of different industries.
Mhm.
What, and I'm this is just me kind of probing and getting an idea of you,
Oh
the
yeah.
person now, right? So what type of problems genuinely energize you? What gets you excited about the work that you choose to do?
The short answer is bringing order to chaos.
Mm, okay.
So seeing people going from fear of losing their jobs
Hmm.
to complete engagement, right?
Hmm.
And they so as you go to a place where they see either it's a tough turnaround or
Hmm.
one plant in Italy again, they were about to they were to close and move the
Hmm.
operations to Poland.
Hmm.
As we went there and worked through the issues, they became a lot more profitable and it became not viable to close the plant and go to Poland.
Hmm.
And so seeing that and the gratitude and yes, in some cases, I'll have to be honest, some cases we have to trim people down, and we have done that. Okay,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
unfortunate, but we saved hundreds of jobs in each of those operations. So that really pumps me up. That really motivates me, Sean.
So now imagine somebody listening, right? They're hearing the story, they're hearing the successes, but they've inherited a complete system that is just not working. It's low morale, it's just a mess. What's that one action to start the kind of turnaround that you've delivered throughout your career?
Look, understand the issue, right? Understand
Mhm,
what the actual problem. So, say that the listener may be having a problem, a situation. What is the situation?
mhm,
Don't assume. I do a full assessment, but at least go to Gemba, right? If you don't know what it is, Gemba is where things are happening. Where, in my case, in manufacturing is where we are making stuff, right? If you will work in a call center, go to where people are answering the calls and talk to people, observe, see what the actual
mhm,
issues are. If you're in charge of an accounting department, go to accounting. You have 10 accountants. Ask them what kind of issues are keeping you from being your best.
mhm.
What's happening right now, and really find out what is keeping you from becoming your best. So having that firsthand is the first thing you gotta do. right? And but when you walk around and you get the information, you're going to end up with hundreds, maybe thousands of things to do. So you have
Mhm,
to prioritize.
mhm,
So
mhm.
what are the top two, three, or four things, depending on how many resources you have, how many you can address at one time.
Mhm.
Get one or two things and go and kill it. People are going to see, oh my gosh, we can do better. This guy is here to help us.
Right,
And
right.
then you get more and you get more. And then you start teaching them how to do it. And that's the beginning of a turnaround. That's what I would advise to people. So here's what I recommend. As soon as this conversation is over, turn off your computer or close the lid, whatever, go together, talk to people and see what kind of struggles they're having right now.
Mhm, mhm. That's I know I've worked in places where that was not the first rule of thumb or the first thing, senior leadership does. So there's a ton of value there. Um, what's next for you, Eduardo? What's next for you? What's next for Boule Diagnostics, for manufacturing simplicity, and what should we be watching out for?
Okay, so a lot, right? I'm focusing. I have a full-time job at Boule. I think we're doing real well. Um, but I started my own company, Manufacturing Simplicity, and that's where a lot of things are happening right now in my world.
Mhm.
I'm helping companies design and implement their operational excellence strategies, running workshops, and supporting leaders through turnarounds as well. And I am writing a book called
Nice,
it's gonna be called
nice.
Manufacturing Simplicity.
Hmm.
But his name's everywhere now, and it should come out next year. I wanted to do this year, but I keep adding chapters and more lessons. But it should come out next year.
Okay, so we will we be able to get it via your website, or how can the listeners connect to you, purchase? Yeah, just stay in contact with you.
Yeah, I haven't published it yet, but I
Okay.
imagine I want to have that on my website, which is still I'm still working on it. Should be come out early next year, the website, and I also want to sell it on Amazon. I'm not here to promote my book, by the way. I
Gotcha.
really like to share my the little that I know. But I'm on LinkedIn, right? Either under my name, Eduardo Pagani, or under Manufacturing Simplicity. There's of course no cost. I'm not gonna promote anything or bug anybody or make any kind of, no, I'm not gonna contact anybody, try to sell anything. But find your LinkedIn, ask me questions. If I can help you in any way, let me know. Let me know. I'm
Awesome.
really willing to help.
Awesome. Well, Eduardo, I am glad you carved out 30 minutes or so just to chat with us, just to educate the network. I think giving back and kind of just sharing your insight, just as a manufacturing engineering, professional, it's helpful and it's rewarding.
Good.
But I do appreciate it. I'm sure the listeners, both live and those watching the recording, appreciate the insights. And I hope all four of those boxes that I shared with you in the beginning that you will get a chance to at least have answered for you. I hope they were answered for you and you got the insights that you were looking for and you can take back to your team. Our time here is done. Eduardo, I appreciate you. Thank you. And we've got another episode coming up December 10th. Be on the lookout for that. It is with Blake Pasker. But again, this is really about Eduardo and his information. Just wanted to at least share that this will be a continuing webinar series on LinkedIn. So thank you again, Eduardo. We appreciate everyone for chiming in both live and on the recording. I appreciate